What's up, Packers fans? Mark Oldacres back here with another Packers prospects video ahead of the 2024 NFL Draft, and this time we're going to talk about cornerbacks. Now, cornerback is a position that the Packers will probably add at least one player to during this draft, and there are some guys who really kind of fit the types of cornerbacks that they generally like. What is that? What do they like generally? Again, this is like the linebacker video we did previously. A position where they really do value that athleticism very highly. 193 pounds is the first one that seems to be kind of a flaw for them. Now, just to get this out there, all of these ignore Shamar Jean-Charles because he was such an outlier for them that it's not worth doing to factor him into the kind of things they like, because he was basically a scout's pick. He was a pick that they just would not have ordinarily taken. He fell to the 5th round and they said, what the hell, let's just do it. But besides him, 193 pounds is the floor. That's the 69th percentile. A 157 10-yard split on the 40-yard dash is a 68th percentile mark. 6.963 cone, that's 66th percentile. 35-inch vert, that's the 55th percentile. And a 4.56 40-yard dash, that is the 50th percentile. So they like athletes, they like above average athletes and bigger corners. Apart from Jair Alexander, of course. He kind of really was the absolute floor for them. I think he was just over 5'10", but they like them even bigger than that if possible. So let's dive into the 5 players. Terrion Arnold is up first from Alabama. Again, this is a player that everybody knows at this point. He is definitely a first-round pick. May well be well out of range for Green Bay. They might have to trade up to get him. Are they going to do that? Who knows? He is 5'11 and 2/3, 189 pounds. So just a little bit under that mark that they generally like, but you can ask a guy to put on 5 pounds. It's not that hard. 9.27 RAS. Great explosion, good size, speed and agility. He only ran like a 4.5, but that's still a good speed. I think people have started to think of that as slow, but it isn't really. You just see these guys running like the 4.3s, like low 4.4s now, and people think that's the benchmark. It's still good speed. It's plenty good enough. He has all the tools. You definitely see that on tape. He uses everything that he has effectively. He covers well. He just needs to do it a little bit more consistently. There's times where it's almost a bit too easy for him, and he kind of gets out of that really clean technique that you want to see. And he just needs to develop that better, more consistent technique. But he has all the tools to be like a brilliant corner for a long time. The second name on this is, I don't know if anyone's heard of this guy. His name is Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just unearthed him anyway. He went to Iowa. 6 foot and 2/5, 203 pounds, and 9.85 RAS. No agilities though. He didn't run those, which threw up some questions about kind of his. Is he going to be a corner? Is he going to be a safety? This is the whole discussion with him. But his speed was great. He ran a 4.46 at his pro day, and his explosion scores were great as well. I do think he can play corner. He has all the movement skills, to do it. I don't see the real tightness in the hips that some other people see. Okay, maybe they're not the oiliest of hips, if you want to put it that way. But the Packers have not shied away from taking cornerbacks with kind of stiffer hips before, even though they like the three cone score to be good. I mean, Eric Stokes' overall agility scores were not good at all, really, and they took him in the first round. Yeah, he has good size, as we talked about. He's generally just very sticky. He can stick in coverage, and he does his part in the run game. He's young. He's a big, fast, versatile defensive back from Iowa. It's Packers written all over it. The only question is, does he kind of really fit in the current scheme? TBD. We'll just have to wait and see on that. Max Melton is up next, who, of course, everyone knows that name because it is Bo Melton's brother. 5'11", 193 pounds. That was at the Senior Bowl. He weighed in, I think, at 187 pounds at the Combine, but the Senior Bowl weight is probably more likely his actual playing weight, and then he lost a few pounds to run faster at the Combine, presumably. He got a 9.09 RS, elite explosion, and great speed. He ran a 4.39, which is fantastic. He has the physical ability in his body to cover tightly, like you see it. He can do it. There is a little bit of tightness. There is in the hips with him. That could hurt him a bit versus kind of the real best corners out there, the best receivers out there, I should say. But he can play man, he can play zone, he helps in the run game. Solid all around. He's getting pushed up and further, it seems, as the process is going on. He's going to be probably a day 2 guy, but definitely someone to watch for the Packers. And it would just be cool to reunite him with Bo with Green Bay. The next guy is another guy who, when you look up his RAS, he's listed as a safety, but he played corner at Texas, and that is Ryan Watts. You see why people think he's going to be a safety because he's 6'2 and 2/3, 208 pounds. He's big. 8.81 RAS, elite size, great explosion and agility. The speed was just okay. It was fine. It was in the 4.5s. It wasn't catastrophic, but you look at that profile, you see why people think safety. But I really liked him on tape. I'm going to be honest. I know he doesn't like grade out the best by like PFF, and you know, I saw some of his better games when I watched him, but I don't see on tape this, oh, he's a safety, has to be a safety. Maybe that's where he ends up, and it does make sense because, you know, he's big, he tackles well, which is important, obviously, but he has enough athleticism. He's a good athlete. You see it on tape, and he can cover. He covers, like, he does it well. Maybe I'm off on this, and he ends up, like, he gets to the NFL, and whoever drafts him, straight to the safety depth chart, not even going to consider him as a corner, but I think there's the potential at least that you let him fail at corner first, or at least he could even maybe do a bit of both. I really like Ryan Watts. And then the last one on this list is Cam Hart from Notre Dame, 6'3", 202 pounds. His RS was exactly 9. He had elite speed, obviously, at 6'3", 202, and explosion. Good speed, 4.5 flat, pretty good, it's fine. The only thing with him was the 3-cone was, I think it was 7.12, which is fairly lower than they have liked at that 6.96 number for corners, but his shuttle drill was pretty good, and that kind of made up for it overall. His agility ended up in kind of the okay section rather than it being poor or very poor. Generally, his movement skills are very smooth on tape. He looks comfortable on routes in front of him, communicates well. The effort in the run game is there. There's a few times on tape where I questioned, is the deep speed there before, you know, he ran at the combine, because you saw guys beat him deep a couple times, and that can be other things than just your straight line speed, obviously. But when he ran that 4.5, that's fine, that's good enough. It kind of alleviates some concerns there, but maybe it's more of a footwork thing, or how you read the game thing, rather than just a speed thing. So that is something to consider. But again, I think he's a viable option, kind of in the, I don't know, the middle rounds sort of thing, I would say. But there's plenty of good corners in this draft for Green Bay if they're looking to pick one up, and they probably will. So yeah, there you go. That is 5 cornerbacks that I think the Packers are probably going to be interested in, at least some level of interest in the 2024 NFL draft, which is right around the corner. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like in the comments, in the section below, and leave a comment of any cornerbacks that you think I missed, or that you just really want the Packers to get in the upcoming draft. You can find my stuff over at cheeseheadtv.com. I write on Tuesdays and Fridays. Please subscribe to Cheesehead TV if you aren't already, and go Pack Go.